Auteur, a filmmaker whose personal influence and artistic control over a movie are so great that the filmmaker is regarded as the author of the movie. Or one singular dude trying to take all the credit from tens to hundreds of people. For the most part, I don't subscribe to the idea of auteurs. I understand the intent of the word, but to award all the credit to a singular person when there are thousands of efforts put into making something just feels wrong. For every Nolan, there's a Zimmer. For every Scorsese, there's a Thelma Shoemaker. For Dirk's 2012 Finals MVP season taking down the biggest three, there's Brian Cardinal, which is a reference for three people watching this, but real ones know the janitor. In one shining moment, you were alive. My point is, more often than not, there's usually a ton of influences that make a movie under that direction. However, what happens when something supersedes even the director's auteurism?
Stupid! You're not Lord Conti at all! Why'd you have to go and eat takum?
Look, I'm not about to tell you there's only one definitive thing that made Fooly Cooly a success. Obviously, you can point to a ton of talented people at Studio Gainax that work to create vibrant animation, helter-skelter editing, and a phenomenal script that paces this OVA so perfectly. But be honest with me, when you think of Fooly Cooly, do you think of this? Or do you think of this? Fooly Cooly is a vibe piece that feels predicated on the Pillows doing the soundtrack and it being a perfect mesh for its visuals. There's a reason every episode begins and ends with the Pillows, because they are so vital to the mood of each piece in each episode. One Life sets the tone for this sci-fi suburbia that's the backdrop for a show about growing up, only to have an electric hook of Ride On Shooting Star to conclude the episode. I think for a majority of people, the beginning and the end are so ancillary for a project. I mean, the beginning is the lasting impression for why you should care about this experience while watching, and the end is the final impression you're left with why you should still care about this experience. So it starts with this poetic intro set to the perfect music, only for this moped sci-fi robot puberty insanity to cut loose afterward. Fooly Cooly has a lot of this. And a lot of this.
Your brother is away, so she's sinking her fangs into you now, fondling around, fooling around, Fooly Cooly! What's Fooly Cooly?
How should I know? I'm still in grade school.
And a ton of this.
Don't get in my way or you'll regret it!
But amidst all the differing ideas, it is a controlled chaos for the difficulties of puberty, in large part due to the insertion of all these songs from the Pillows. Like this moment with Brand New Love Song, setting the tone for one of the biggest moments of the show with this melancholic daydreaming atmosphere flowing through it. It's a small moment that without a song choice like this loses its essence. And I don't think Fooly Cooly would have been as memorable and iconic without its soundtrack behind it. In conclusion, the Pillows rock, and so does Fooly Cooly. Speaking of the Pillows, today's sponsor. Ha! Just kidding, but if you want to know more about the Pillows, this video was made in collaboration with another YouTuber, Out of Characters, that goes through the history of the Pillows. It's super awesome, and even as a fan of the Pillows, I learned a ton about the band. Anyway, go do that. Come on, get out of here, scrim.